Welcome everyone to Tech Talk Friday, and it's that time of the day again, 7 p.m. Malaysia Singapore time, and we talk technology, we talk anything is innovative. Technology ultimately is the name of the game. So, hi, I'm Roshan Thiran, and together with me, I'm going to introduce my co-host today, Karamjit Singh. And Karam's going to introduce a fantastic guest that we have today, an amazing person that's joining us, who's also a technopreneur. Karam, welcome to the studio. Glad to have you with us, and always glad to have a little bit of banter with somebody else because sometimes talking to myself is a bit boring. So having somebody to beat up and make fun of sometimes makes things a little bit more pleasant. Now, Karam, today we have a fantastic, right? I mean, it's an organization that's grown significantly over the last couple of years. Tell us a bit about our guests and maybe do a quick introduction to the man.
Okay. So very quickly, Ramasamy Veeran actually became an entrepreneur in 1995, and he actually started out as a telco equipment supplier, and then because he was in the telco space, started selling, offering calling cards. You can buy those prepaid cards, right? And then in 2007, sorry, not 2007, yeah, he bought 95. I think a few years later, lah. And then he became, right, after 2 years after that, he actually became an MVNO, which is a mobile virtual network operator, which is one of those, it's like TuneTalk now. You don't own the network, you just market your service, and people, you lease the network from Celcom or whoever. Actually, they use Celcom. And I mentioned Celcom because Celcom obviously liked what they were doing. And a few years later, Celcom came in actually and became an investor in them. Very interesting, yeah. And a few years after that, the Japanese investor came in, Sumitomo. And it's not easy to get a Japanese investor in. Your corporate governance has to be very high, but they clearly liked what he was doing. So imagine from just being a telco supplier, he has now got one of the largest companies in Malaysia as an investor, and he's got a Japanese company also. And the reason why we brought him onto the show is because he told me 2 years ago, in 2018 January, that I want to go regional. And for me, it struck me that it's taken him that long to go regional. And I think going regional is quite difficult also in his line of business. So it's kind of going to be interesting to ask him why. And you look at what he said also himself, right? I like this because in 2018 January, he said that, look, I want to disrupt my own business. And it takes a certain kind of entrepreneur who maybe has seen a bit of the future to say that, because then you put yourself in a very uncomfortable position. So with that,
shall we bring him to the studio?
Exactly. So with that, we want to bring on Ramas.
Hey, hi, Roshan. Hi, Karam.
Hey, Ram, good to have you. Maybe, Karam's given a big, broad introduction of yourself. You want to say one or two other things about Merchant Trade and the business that you're running currently?
Well, maybe Merchant Trade is actually running about 4 pillars of business. Like what Karam mentioned, right now is MVNO is still there, but we also move into the MSB, money services business. In there, we have a currency, a wholesale currency, retail currency, as well as a remittance. Then we have e-money. So that's how we operate, but all under Merchant Trade umbrella. Then we do have subsidiaries that operate IT subsidiary for us, as well as couponing business. So this is a 2 subsidiary, and we do some investment in Singapore and running a remittance. So just generally, that's our business.
No, but I think your IT subsidiary is interesting because people don't know, unless you read the article DNA wrote a few years ago. Yeah. Your IT subsidiary is actually based out of, it is the heartbeat, the hub of it is in Nepal, right?
Right. Yes. So we have a total about close to 100 staff working in Nepal. Yes. So why we employed them. We need to think fast, and we don't want to outsource because we working in different zone hours. Some of them European zone hours different, Asian zone hours. The Nepal is a 2 hours 15 minutes different, so it's easier for us to communicate and all of that. And we get a top talent from Nepal, very good talent, boys, and I think we have a top notch in Nepal boys working with us. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I guess because you become your interesting that you say you can get top-notch talent. I think because for the folks in Nepal or in Kathmandu, right? Are you in Kathmandu or different
Yes,
city?
in Kathmandu. Yeah, it's a
So because
Kathmandu.
they are working for an international company, right? So they all want to. You don't have your IBMs or Oracles or Microsofts there to compete for, right?
Right.
Interesting. Wow, and I think people don't know 100 strong tech team, and you're mainly known for your money services business, and a few people may know you from your telco space, lah, right?
Because you see, this tech company, what we are trying to do is we try to keep the ecosystem within us. Is
Okay.
mainly do our job. We are control that company that in order for them to get outside business, they are in a control environment. We do not share our knowledge to outsiders unless we give an approval. Because that's how we take a subsidiary. We own 75% of the company.
Oh, majority, good. But so the entrepreneur still owns, the founder still owns 25%, yeah?
Yeah, he was my ex-staff. So
Oh,
he's doing good. Then I said, why don't you? He work in a bank, and I told him, why don't you run? And from I think 3-4 staff, now we developed the company for 100 staff. So he wanted to do very big in Nepal, and he wanted to move to India. I said we are trying to encourage him right now.
Exactly. Wow, excellent. Very interesting. So, so I think my first thing was, how did you get into the business first? What were you doing before you became a telco vendor? And
Well, okay, after school, I think my past working experience is the foundation for me today. Well, I guess the experience what I learned with some entrepreneur. I work with a few entrepreneurs, or entrepreneur-driven companies, and
Okay.
the way they think is very different. The way they handle situation, the way they manage people, the way they handle the crisis. I have exposed in from HR, admin, operations, so I am able to understand how the total company structure works. So that's give me a confidence for me to setting up my merchant trade. After 5 years, I decided I don't want to work anymore. I don't want to be employed. I think I just want. It's 1996, not 1995. So
96.
I started merchant trade in 1996. So, but unfortunately, during that time, there's economic crisis. If I'm not mistaken, that's 1996,
97, 98 lah, yeah.
So I pulled back, but I don't want to employ it. I do some freelancing, and slowly I started back in 2001, 2002. Start going into the market, supplying the routers, supplying some basic equipment. But I guess that is not my business again. I realized that there's no cash always delay. People paying me after 3 months, 6 months. I think
Yes.
that's not a good business to be in. So I decided I want to own the end customer. So that's where I went in, VoIP. They call Warung Telephone. So I taken the phone booth, but it's a sunset business. Went on very fast. MNOs come in and they whack the pricing, so we out of the business. But luckily that the market we understand the market very well, the migrant market. So
Okay.
we approach the mobile operator. They buy our idea. So that's why in 2007 we came in a remittance. We came in MVNO, first MVNO in the country. At the same time, I think MVNO must come together another business. So that's why we set up remittance. So we combine both, then we give it to the customers. I think that's a power play. So we went and we managed to acquire a lot of customers. So today what happened is during the remittance now take off, MVNO take off first, but of course the other MVNOs challenges and our numbers have dropped. But remittance, that numbers are growing. Then we move into the wallet space. In last 2 years, I think you was attended the conference.
The January launch with Visa,
Yeah, so they are doing very well on that. So today we just launched with the Kenanga, right?
Okay.
So they stopped broking first co-brand card with the Kenanga. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. Interesting. So very interesting that you say you wanted to own the end customer because the business you're in before that, right? The cash flow was super tight, right? People will always pay the small fleur very last, as late as possible.
I started actually when the telecommunication equipment. When I supply the equipment, I started from scratch, from home. So that's why I don't want to invest money. I was thinking how to start the business. Let me start a small at home. If I fail, and I can close it. So it's very small operation from my home. So then that's how I think. Okay, end customer, we need a little bit office. Then we start up a small office, and I still keeping the office. I don't know. If feng shui is good, So I like to keep the office.
Where is this office at? Where's the office at?
Damansara Intan, yeah.
Oh,
So,
Damansara. Oh, yeah, I've been to your office. Okay.
Yeah.
So see, you must, if you're an entrepreneur, if you get good feng shui location, that's the X factor. This is the first time we're hearing this on the show, man. Thanks a lot for sharing that.
Thanks.
No, it's interesting that Rama, you got into the MVNO business, mobile virtual network operator, and then you said the MNO. I think viewers may not know. That means mobile network operators, right? Your DG Celcom. So the big boys started saying, hey, we want to get a piece of the business. They came in and started undercutting you also.
Yeah,
and then you decided that's not the buy. Because I know at one point, Roshan, he had almost 1 million customers. And I thought, and people were saying that, hey, watch Merchant Trade, they're going to be one of the big four. Before you mobile, they thought you all were going to be number 4. And then the competition was so brutal, came in, and you decided, since your remittance business surprisingly did better than you expected, I guess, you just power ahead with that, right?
Yeah. I mean, Rama,
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
So we moved our business after the MVNO. I'm very lucky enough that we have the other business support, the pillars. And today, the MVNO became a supplementary business for us. So for us, remittance customers, our wallet customer, so we are trying to give the SIM as a part of the OTP, right? So it's not a primary business now, it's supplementary business. So new customer on board, we're giving that the numbers are locking. So that's why we are driving the business right now.
Okay. Wow, very interesting.
One of the things I wanted to ask you, is over the last couple of years, I'm sure you've had many challenges, and a lot of times. I mean, I just got a couple of people like Shaji, who just said, "Great story, Rama," and he's also an entrepreneur. Shaji, also doing some fantastic, cool stuff. Azman, who's been listening in from the start, it's good. It's really good to hear this success story. But every time there's a success story, right? We focus on all the nice bells and whistles and all the cool stuff, but behind it is a road paved with a bunch of failures, challenges, obstacles, and obviously we don't talk so much about these things. We tend to talk a lot more about we have 1 million people and this and that and users and so on. But tell us a bit about that journey. I'm sure it's not been easy. It'd be nice to. I know also as an encouragement to entrepreneurs when we face challenges, right? We know that it's going to be an arduous, tough journey. But tell us a bit about your journey and especially the tough parts. But more importantly, how you motivated yourself to keep fighting and keep going strong. Because that is, I think, very important for all of us to take out of this. A little bit at least.
So go back. I think I can write a book. That's all I can.
I'm sure you could.
So when I started the equipment supply to some telecommunication company, when you get a check after 6 months later, that's how the industry works. I say it's no way, very tight, and I want to move my business differently. So I started very VIP in a very small, small server, hiring 2-3 engineers, a very small operation. So we trying to go into the market. Of course, that time when you want to get a loan, I have to go around to I need to walk for how many banks up and down, say this is my business model. I'm saying this is work, but I don't think so people believe me at that time. So, but somehow or other, 1 or 2 banks supported me, and we pay off. That is where I learned you need to be honorable to the bank, right? So the day you pay back everything on time, and they continue to support you, all right? So then I move on. When they come into the business became sunset, VIP became sunset. So you have a tough time for 2 years, right? Then you need to remodel. I have to try to tell me my dream is I want to run the mobile. That's my dream. I said I'm going to do this. I want to do the remittance. I know this market. I'm trying to put this two model. I remember I was sitting in the street in Dubai, learning how to do this remittance, how these workers are walking, how this guy doing it. I visited all part of Malaysia, how these workers are trying to send, how they are sending, what is the problem. So getting all the thing, putting to get all the approval, necessary approval, get into the business, it's a tough journey, right? Of course, then it comes in the competition. How do you manage the competition? Then, of course, now suddenly digital disruption coming in. So the last 2 years, last 3 years actually, I have to disrupt the whole thing again, right? So the brick and mortar is not working so much. Now how to move? I'm very lucky, fortunate to see that thing is in advance. We started putting invest. I said, okay, we don't want to make any profit, no profit, let's
Just
invest, right? Let's invest in people, let's invest technology, let's put it. And luckily, I can foresee that. So today we managed to come back stronger, right?
Yeah.
To in terms of building up the network, infrastructure. I think this is how we build the business.
Amazing. And you seem to have this clarity to know when things are down. Many times, when look the VO, like you said, the VOIP business is gone. You had the clarity and the foresight to say, push that aside, let's move on, right? And likewise now you're doing the same, right? But not many, many of us get stuck in the thing we started, right? Because it's exciting, what did you do to enable yourself to have that clarity? Because entrepreneurs, we build something and then we get stuck in that thing, right? But sometimes we need to throw that thing and move to a new thing, right? Or build a new thing. How did you enable yourself to consistently be able to look at your business in a way that is not tied in, but in a way that's very clear and enabling you to say, okay, this is gone, this market is dead, let's move. I think that's very hard, because I see that's where a lot of entrepreneurs fail,
So I look at risk. I'm a guy that look at risk. If I have to balance my risk. If my risk is, if I foresee my risk is too, can see a risk ahead of me, I'm trying to mitigate. If I cannot see properly to handle, I'm not going to continue the business. So I will chop very fast. So or the division. The risk factors, understand the risk factors becoming a very, very important, especially these changes. The second thing I realize is if I don't change, I don't think so the company can change. That's a factor within me.
As a leader,
I am the best guy in town. I can talk to so many guys in town. They can listen. But if I don't change, if I don't drive, I don't bring the whole thing. I think it's not going to work any organization. So my organization is very clear. So
I think you're spot on. We're going to dig deeper, but I got a lot of people writing in, so I want to highlight as many people as we can today because I get scolded.
Somebody was saying he didn't share their feedback.
Yeah, I got scolded. I put a comment there, but you didn't share my comment. Okay, so I'm sorry, guys. We get a ton of comments. I can't. But Azman, asked a bit about the challenges you face. Possibly even political or financial. I think you talked a little bit about some of the financial issues. I just going to go through a couple more. So maybe, Rama, you can answer that in a little while. Garrick says hi and a great platform. Azman, I think, asked a question that I think I asked briefly, and maybe you can go deeper. How does Rama keep his strength? And strength is spelled in a very interesting way, So I think it's the new disruption. Azman is already saying the world is disrupted. The word strength should be disrupted also. So how does Rama keep your strength in this disrupted world? I think that's what I'm trying to read between the lines, what he's saying, right? And Zainal says inspirational. And also, a couple of comments from Weng Yip or Kit Weng, sorry, Kit Weng Yip. Azman keeps saying strength, man. Okay, well done, brother Ram. So I think just zooming in on a couple more. Ivan also says amazing, but I think I want to zoom in on these two things. How do you maintain your strength? And also, I think we understand in Malaysia, especially, there are challenges, sometimes political, sometimes, like you said, I mean, the ability to get funding was such a big strain on you in the early days. Nobody wants to talk to you, even though they said they are a friend. But if you can tell us a bit about that, and also how do you really maintain your strength? And then there's a couple more questions, but I will pose that later. But if you can take these two at this point in time, this would be fantastic.
So I think a political challenge. I don't work on anything political. I'm very neutral. I do not associate anybody. So I stand with my strength. The company must stand on its own. That is things from first day. When I started got my MVNO, I think way back in 2007. So that's where Sumitomo came in first, not Salcom, right? Sumitomo came in first. So when they met me, and they are made it very clear they want to do the investment in merchant trade. In 2008, they entered into merchant trade. There's already almost 2009, 2008, they met me, and during the investment, I went to Tokyo. So the top guy was giving a speech, and he made it very clear. Our investment is because of Rama, and business can go up and down. Rama integrity always must be there. So it's that kind of power statement he made it, right? So whatever it is, you are the person we trust, you run it. Of course, you cannot do welfare business, but make sure you run it properly. So that is Sumitomo. Today, I think we are blessed to have them. All our staff are trained by Sumitomo. Every year, I always send people to Japan to train and make sure the culture, Sumitomo culture is there. So in the company. And how do I keep strength? I think come back on that. Laughing is the way. Smile and laugh is the only way to keep me going. So I keep going.
You tell yourself silly jokes, or you give Karam a call, and Karam will say, "Hey, here's the joke for today, Rama."
So I think keep you wake up and just make a joke. You wake up. You have a stress. Everything my business is full of stress, right?
Sure.
You will see daily is happening, but you would keep laughing. You keep going, and you enjoy what you are doing. The most important thing, you enjoy. You're passionate about it. You know what you're doing is right, and there's nothing wrong. You see the risk, but maybe you need to explain to people, whether my staff, my stakeholders, or my shareholders. This is what you keep going. So you cannot say pull back because one person saying something and you say, oh, I'm a negative about it. I think no, you keep going, right?
Okay, fantastic. So keep plugging it in there. Shaji asked you a quick question. Investors and so-called business gurus always say entrepreneurs should focus. In your opinion, perhaps on hindsight, do you believe you should focus on just one business, or do you think you can manage multiple businesses?
So this is a very good question. I think.
Shaji, so
Sumitomo invested on me, right? They made it very clear, right? They have a full trust, and I think I got so many opportunities. There's somebody asked me to invest here, invest here. So many digital things are coming in. I know when I don't want. I think they made it very clear. I think all the shareholders after the Celcom also coming in, they're looking at me how I'm driving a business. I think to be fair to them, they are my shareholders. Whether I'm focusing or I'm doing something else, my mind is going somewhere else. If I do any private investment, my mind will go into their side. My mind focus in my business. So that is where I'm really focused. I never invested in anything except my some personal properties. That's a different. Otherwise, a business I don't do. So that's fully focused. Right.
Okay, I've got one question, Roshan. One interesting thing you did, I think about 2017 is it seemed like you made a conscious decision. I need to increase the depth of my management team, and you started bringing very senior people who were with big companies before, right? Banks and MNCs also. But then when I heard that from you, in my mind, I'm thinking that yours is a very organically grown business, right? You have loyal staff with you, and then you're bringing these people, senior people from other organizations, right? They're used to different culture, and maybe they're used to working with A-level talent or so. Whereas, no disrespect to your organization, but everybody, a lot of them grow organically long time, right? So Roshan is smiling, but that's the reality, right? Suddenly you bring in top floors from a senior level coming in. How did you how did you change the culture in some sense, or tell your people that we need to do this because I can't do it all on my own? I need their insight, their experience, their networks, right? To take us to the next level, which is, you said you're going to be the first non-bank digital, bank in Malaysia, and you want to disrupt the bank. That's a very bold statement to make and
I guess how do you assimilate them, right? Because we see many times, it's very hard to assimilate senior people both ways, right? Also,
I think he had to change the culture to accommodate them also. So it's not one way. You assume one way, right? So, but Rama, what do you do?
Yeah,
I think let's be objective now, right? I'm very objective. I know my business. I need to transform. There's no way the legacy business or people, the first batch of people can see the things different. I need to do a little bit different structure. I need to bring different people. I know some kind of not a good comment will come within existing people, but I had to move on. I need to explain. I need to get the best ideas. I need to hire the smart guys in town. That is a reset my mind, right? So to build the business in future, you need to get these people in, and you have to patient to understand them. They come in a different culture. They come in a different environment, and maybe they cannot accept working with an entrepreneur, right? But it's my duty to be flexible, to listen to them and explain. And I want people can execute my ideas. That is very important. That's why during any interviews, all the senior people, I have a normal casual chat only. I think it will take a few weeks. I will chat. If you cannot take what inside my mind and execute it, you better don't join me. It's no problem, So don't come for money. Don't come. You have a must passion, and you must able to see why we are driving it. So I think all the senior people that join me from bankers are more, right? They accept it, how to work in this industry. And we combine. Those are from telco, those from banker, those from different industry. We combine. Right. I think we have a very good, solid team. And I'm blessed to have them, so I can move faster.
Okay, I got a lot of comments coming in, so I need to just do a beehive on the comments, and then we'll take a quick break in a second. My producer's already yelling at me. So Azman actually is in Jeddah. He's listening in from Jeddah, and he says that he's going to be joining a Kickstart company soon with young entrepreneurs. So he wants to know how you and Karamjit would be, what advice you give for Jive beginner. I think what he means is newbies. So I mean, very quickly, I mean, what sort of advice would you give to younger folks who are starting out, who's starting out in their entrepreneurial journey? Who's at the beginning of their you're kind of mid-stage, I guess, right? Of your entrepreneurial journey. You still got a couple more years. I know Karam will say you haven't made it yet, but for me, you are the mid-level of success. Your stage 3 company. You figured out a product market fit. You've figured out a customer base. You've got a clientele. You've kind of have revenue coming in. You've got a good business model. So you have some sort of success. Now you've got to scale it out and grow it to a different level. That's part 2. But how do you advise the guys who are the stage 1 or stage 0? What should they be thinking about?
By the way, Ramas got a lot of revenue coming in, but he wants multiple fold more. Okay, let's put that in perspective.
Okay, Roshan, I mean, for Azman questions, I think the first thing the young boys, youngsters who want to come into business, first look for a mentor, or don't learn someone that don't worry about money, don't worry about salary. Try to understand what is the entrepreneur doing, right? You have to catch it. What this guy doing, how he handle, how this guy operate, how he handle the crisis, how he talk to people, how he dress up. All this you have to learn, So that is, you don't look for a salary. Maybe it's okay, whatever salary is okay. You just have to see your boss, find out what it is, what he's trying to do, what he's trying to try to go. Any entrepreneur, no worry, anyone, right? Maybe they do, even the entrepreneur don't talk to you. It's okay. Never mind. You work in one division. Try to see what they're doing. That exposure is a first exposure, right? Maybe 6 months or 1 year, 2 years. You must catch it that, right? Then you know what is a real world outside. How to run the people, how to manage people. The second thing is you don't worry about failure, right? You are motivated. You have something. Then you believe what you're doing it. And make sure you understand the risk, and you think that is you're motivated. You will really want to entrepreneur. Go ahead. I'm very sure you will fail 1 or 2 times. That's normal, right? I think you will bounce back if we are fully motivated. Don't just give up. But you must know your business very well. You must know in and out, end to end. You must know. You don't do half pass. You don't try to do 10% of your business and you divide to another 90% of the business to someone else. I don't think so. That's going to work. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. We need to take a very short 30-second break. So we're going to go into Hokkien mode today, as we have an ad in Hokkien, So for those of you from Penang and from Johor, this is the day Tech Talk goes Hokkien. So let's go Hokkien right now.
Right. 你捌聽啲咧叫 app 叫 Nicole 是做乜？唔是啦，我教你講 app 啦嘛。其實你看啲 Nicole 你看，伊加了後真正係 article、podcast、courses 嘅啊。 我教你講啊，你愛變好苗，你好苗，
I home 啊，爹哋
你愛吞你無？
吞這類咯。
啊，所以啊，你特別on call，真係做，你睇啦，你看article 嘅啦，你睇啦，你變真搞嘅，知無？
咩無？
我看啲有年，你看啲 article 看按照後面啊，按照吞這類，哇！呀，你講睇。
一日看好了嘛，真嚟就搞。
有啦，教你講了嘛，你咪聽，當見到特別去看，特別看個了，睇個了，
你講你自己
真搞了。OK，好，你先好都來。
Okay, so that was Nicole, the big learning app, and thanks to Nicole for supporting our show, Tech Talk Friday. I got a couple more questions I wanna get to, and then Karam has a couple. Today we've got a bunch of Facebook users are also asking a whole bunch of questions, but I think very quick question Zainul asked is, how do you manage your stress of running the business? How do you manage the stress of running your business? Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs burn out significantly, especially now, where we are 24/7. Off the computer screen and get the rates of burnout are so high. How do you help Zainul answer this question, Rama?
Yeah, it's actually stress is the biggest, especially this time. But when you're growing, more stress. When you have a bigger revenue, more stress, right? The stress is normal, right? So
never ends.
if you say there's no stress, I don't believe anyone. So everybody have their own stress. But the thing is, you have to continue motivate yourself, this is going to happen. What worry about it? Worst thing, you only got a two answer: either going to make it or not going to make it, right? Or yes or no. So you do not worry so much. In life, you look at it only two: yes or no, and either you make it or not going to make it. You can't stay in the middle. So I think you have to set your mind, right? Let it be. Let try. Don't worry, and just move on, right? If you don't have your mind, what's the next option? Just take it and move it. So what for is stressful? Somebody leaving, okay, fine. They get another person coming in. You have to continue move on, right? You just
don't kill yourself over things that you have no control of, right? I think that's where a lot of stress comes, right? When we have no control and we get stressed up about it, right? Focus on what we can control. Fantastic. So I think you talked about trust, and there's a user that says Sumitomo trusted you in your leadership, and you're the best. Lucky Singh, his name is Lucky Singh. Okay, Karam.
You better hire him, man. You better hire him.
So Merchant Trade, I think he's saying you're the best. So maybe this is
Sumitomo trusted me. I think I have to
go to Rama. He'll hire you. If not, Karam will. Because Karam needs some luck now, right? A good question from K.Veeran, right? What's your take on technology as a competitive driver and a differentiation in the marketplace? Yep.
So, I mean, it is I'm just looking at my business or general business. All you need to do is you identify the gap. If you don't know what the gap, especially technology side, so many people coming in, so many businesses are coming in digital, but you need to find where is the gap in the market and how you're going to solve it. If you cannot find that, I think you're not going to make a tech company. I've been studying this thing every time. You need to find where's the gap. That's something that the people need it, and some or other you need to come some kind of technology to address that. If you can do that, I think you can make it. That is where you need to build your system. Any techie guys, or I don't know, they will agree with me, but you need to solve some problem over there. So and look for where is the problem, all right, and just find a way, and you will can able to do it better.
While the question seemed to think that a piece of technology can help you create a market magically, you're saying no, look for a pain point, and then the technology is just a tool, right, to try to solve that so that you can deliver a better service to the market.
Yes, right.
Okay, fine. Understood.
So I got a couple more questions. While Karam is pondering in his mind,
I know you had a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions, but give other chance. Like I can pick up the phone and call Rama also.
But Karam is trying to think of a question that will stump you, and then Rama, you I can't answer this, because that's what Karam likes to do, right?
Okay, go ahead. No issue.
We have a Facebook user, Wing Wei, that asks, Mr. Rama is an authentic leader, trailblazing in remittance and the e-wallet industry in Malaysia. Question is, where do you see merchant trade play its strength against competitors as we see new bigger players coming into this playing field in the next 2 years. What's your take on this?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, there's competition always be there. I think you cannot avoid, you cannot say that there won't be any competition, right? But you have to know how to maintain your space and speed in the market. And just there's a foreign place also. There's homegrown, and there's advantage being homegrown. You know everything, every single country, site, everything you know, right? You know the better the culture, everything. So if you build a technology and you are homegrown, you have advantage in this field, right? Well, that's my take is I think this next few years, we will continue to lead the market, and we will continue give the better new product services. You need rollout because for them, the other global players or the international players, when they come in this field, for them to roll out, understand the local culture, it will take some time. How the geographical works, where the B2B market, where the student market, where the migrant market, it's all they need time to think and time to develop. So for us, we will understand better, right? That is where you can move faster.
So
But
do you see,
when you say, sorry, Roshan, when you say that, sometimes it doesn't make sense to me also, because you said local players know the market better. Like, look at the example of Telenor, right? They created value in Malaysia, but it was local running it, and all the people are locals, right? They didn't bring in a bunch of Norwegians to run the show. So you're competing with a local leadership team, right? And with the funding of a Telenor. And yet somehow you managed to outlast them, or did you get lucky? Does luck play a part also? Because maybe in Norway there was a change, right? Say, guys, we don't want to focus on this, remittance or money services business. Malaysia, let's sell. I don't know.
When you run a corporate, you are easy to fight. That is an easy game, right? Corporate will take a years to do a decision. Don't worry. Okay, you can make a decision on the spot, move on, take a decision. So when a corporate comes in, you only worry your competitor, also another entrepreneur, he want to fight with you. He has the money, he has the capability. Then you fight, right? Otherwise, corporate, they will take years to think about the market.
He said he's friends with everyone, right? So he's probably friends with Albert Murthy. So
I no comment, because mobile is different. I'm talking about my industry, especially remittance, whatever it is. They have a way. The structure they build, you need to get every single things you want to spend, you need to get approval. Every new idea, you need to get approval. For them to go and roll out, it's a process they develop. It's a good process. For us, it's okay to try and fail tomorrow. Hey, this is okay. Just do it. Try this one. Tell my team do this.
So interesting, because I see, Roshan, when you say that, Patrick Grove from Catcha once told me that, Karam, speed in the digital world, speed always beats size. So you're saying like the value had size, but they didn't have speed and the nimbleness that you had. Interesting.
Yeah, but today,
I don't comment anything on value, right? I'm just value have their corporate, they have their own decision to make whether they want to be in Malaysia or not Malaysia. So I cannot reveal much why they want to move, but we think it's a good asset for us. That's why we went in. But because our way of culture are doing it, any other players also in the market, we can do fast decision. Corporate always take a little bit time to make a decision. That's only what my comment.
Okay. So and one of the thing that's very interesting is that I know we say that speed trumps size, but size does matter. I mean, you look at the big platforms, like the Facebooks and the and so on. They and I mean, obviously there are good things happening, like the social dilemma that exposes business models that somewhat are defective to say the least. But how do you really? I mean, how do we really compete against these big boys? I know you say speed, but are there other things that we should be looking at that can help us compete? Because you talk to the media industry, right? How do they even think about competing with Facebook, Google, and I mean they've pretty much locked in the whole ad space, right? I mean, Karam, your business also, right, to some extent. I mean, is there some thoughts that you think about these big guys and these big platforms and smaller ones like y'all, and how you can? Many times we give up and just join them, and then we kind of take the peripheral business. But is there a positioning that Malaysian business can become a platform or become that at some point in time? Are you thinking about yours becoming a bigger platform? at some point in time?
So just let me answer the first one, right? So when you we are not that, we cannot keep the company small. That's the rules number one. You cannot, if you keep only 5 staff, 6 staff, there's no way. This is a big boy games, right?
Yep.
So you need to come at a certain size. You think that you enough for you in terms of capital, in terms of your ideas, in terms of the way driving the speed of market. They must have a right size. The right size is very important, right?
Okay.
So you no need to have a big, huge size, but in Malaysia you require right size. But the right size also can able to compete regionally or globally. That's the right size.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to determine where your right size. Now, for a company like us, I can raise money, I can move on, I can continue to do this. But I think what we do is we want to make sure we're in the market, understand the market, build a global standard. It'll take time because we are not 150 years old company. And the last few years only, last few years only, I'm investing heavily on the business, especially in this tech part. So we managed to build all the platform. Now, there's a few strategy we are doing it. Whether we want own the customers directly. That's what we're doing in Malaysia. We own the customer directly. At the same time, we also do collaboration. I give you an example in Singapore. We own 70% and we own the end customer. But at the same time, my platform, we're able to give it to competitor. So about 5 of them using my system back to in Malaysia, same thing. While I'm doing business here, at the same time, I'm giving to banks to use my system back. They're transacting, and also I'm giving my competitor. So this is how I work. Right.
This is the collaborative ecosystem that you're building, right?
So I mean, for them, they're going to build 140 over bank connectivity. It takes years. One contract with a bank will take easily 8 months, 1 year, or 2 years, right?
Wow.
So for us, we already have almost 40 over banks and connected closing 100 partners. And I think next 2 years we're going to build another 100 over, but 200 partners.
Wow.
So that ecosystem is not easily to be built overnight. Someone will take a time. Even how big money you have, you need to build. Unless you buy over, like people like MasterCard, Visa, they acquire a company who have all the connectivities, right? So it's a game. Again, I agree with you. Size is a matter, but we have to keep in the right size.
Yeah. So you speed matters, but you can start nimble, but as you grow, you need to scale it up at least to a sizable one that gives you that competitive edge. So I think that's a very good point. I got Danjuma Nimfa. I think he's not from. I don't think he's Malaysian, but this is a novel discussion. So he's thankful to us. I got one more question from a Facebook user, Karen Pua. I'm gonna hold off on it. I'm just gonna show a very short, a little video on Bounce Back. Now, Bounce Back is a program where we are partnering with different celebrities in the US and all over the world to raise money for charities and NGOs in Southeast Asia. And we want to open this up to and as Malaysians, starting in November 10th, I think, is where Bounce Back begins. What I'll do is I'll tease you today, and next week Tech Talk, I will give you the link on how you too can be involved in Bounce Back. So let's listen in to Bounce Back.
Never before in history have we felt more interconnected. Everyone's actions have the power to impact the health and well-being of everyone else's actions. We truly are all in this together. And together, we can bounce back better, stronger, smarter. Given this incredibly difficult time, when fundraising is down and the desperate need for help is up, let's work together in helping those who need us most. Starting November 10 and 11, for 14 straight Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we will host Bounce Back, a global symposium where we will share stories of overcoming great odds to create great meaning in this world. We'll explore how champions bounced back from failure, adversity, or poverty to do great things. We'll discover how business leaders created great wealth and significance, and how you can too. These winners didn't do it at the expense of others, but with the help of their fellow brothers and sisters. They showed compassion, love, kindness, and humility as they attracted like-minded people to join their tribe. We want to highlight some of the most inspiring and influential difference makers, the men and women who've influenced this world like we've never seen before. Bounce back, better, stronger, and smarter is brought to you by Together We Can Change the World, empowering and educating less fortunate children and women in Southeast Asia to live a better life. And Leaderonomics, a social enterprise empowering our youth and giving them the skills and tools necessary to build a better future. Yes, together we can change the world.
All right, so let's bounce back, and next week we'll have more details on bounce back,
Okay,
how you
right.
learning from great leaders from all over the world who are giving their time to come to teach us, and in the process raise funds for here in Malaysia, Cambodia, Thailand, Myanmar, and Southeast Asian countries, various NGOs. So more there. Microsoft is one of our key partners. So Microsoft Malaysia team is partnering with us. So all of it will be broadcast on Microsoft Teams. So that will come up pretty soon. So next week, look up Tech Talk Friday. We'll share with you a little bit about bounce back. In the meantime, just to wrap it up, I got one question from Karen. I thought that's a pretty interesting, Karen. I think it's for Karam, but Rama, I think you should answer it too. They said this is the best webinar. I don't think it's a webinar, Karen. We're talking
Conversation.
Yeah, you know, when Indian guys gather together and talk, usually it's called rambling. But in this case, it's a webinar. So never mind. It's a question. You must have seen a lot of tech companies compared to most of us. I'm assuming most of us, meaning Malaysian tech companies. Are we on the right track? Are we being left behind without us knowing it? And I think it's a good question because many times we are like Jago Kampong. We think we're doing well here. But when these big, like I said, these big tech platforms come in, they just totally destroy us. You know, it's like the Walmart in the 70s that went to a small village and just destroyed all the smaller grocery shops and so on and so forth, right? And we know when the Alibabas and the, you know, when these guys start to come in a big way, many of our smaller platforms start to disintegrate. So I guess the question to both Rama and Karam, you know, Karen's correct question, I think, is, you know, are we competitive as a tech industry, and are we going the right way, and are we doing the right things, right? So to the both of you.
Rama, you first, Amai, if you want to.
I think, I mean, to answer you straight, the guys are coming up. You can see every time Malaysian guys want to do something new, they're trying. I guess that's a good spirit right now is going in the market. In the last 1.5 years, 2 years, you can see the local guys are coming in. This is the right track. Actually, they are already moving. A lot of support from the government, a lot of support from funds. I think is in the right track. But whether you can think globally, I'm not very sure. That is something they have to travel. They must see. Because the product is more Malaysian-based product or Asian-centric product. But when you want to think about global, they have to understand how the regulatory, how the market, geographical, whether the product is marketable in other country. That is where they need to ask themselves what the market size they want to be. People in the US or European companies, what they do is they look at everything before they build the product or services. They look at a global thing. Okay, this market I going to tackle 4 million customers. This market I'm going to tackle 5 million customers. So they have a global thinking before they develop the product. So I think this is where the youngsters or the new entrepreneur must start thinking where they're going to address it. I gone through this the same thing. When I want to build this thing, I think yes, Malaysia, yeah, this is a size, but outside the country, I have I don't operate overseas. I decided not to operate in many countries. It's not cost effective, but I will do partnership. I give a single API to all the partners: US, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Korea, South Africa. So my tech must be in a global standard, right? So we're able to move very fast in the market. So it depends how you look at it.
Yeah, so it all depends.
It's all depends how you look at it. But as a guys in Malaysia, we are coming up. But whether they're thinking like a Jago Kampung or not, that's something that they have to think carefully on.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's Karen. There's a good question. So, Malaysia is no different from other countries around the world. You look, there are very few countries which are creators of technology. Often you think of the US, you think of Germany, you think of now China. Yeah, but China's got 1.4 billion fellas running around. Okay, but even India, I was going to say, right? Then you got Korea, and then you got Japan and Taiwan. Just a handful of countries. I cannot reel off 40 names to you. So
Yeah.
don't think we are worse off than others or we are so bad and all that. You're right. Our technology players are not so strong, but also then you need role models. So that's why last week show Rama was very interesting because we had Kamarul Muhammad here from Aerodyne, right?
Yeah.
So very quickly, you saw the show. So very quickly, he has become a global company. And 2 weeks before that, 3 weeks before that, we had another drone company come, and the guy, what's his name again? Roshan?
Peladrone. The company's called Peladrone.
Polar yeah, Polar Drone, not Polar Drone. So
Polar Drone,
and he said that look, this guy Aerodrone has set a high bar, and we are to aspire to that because you see a fellow Malaysian, right, eating the same nasi lemak, chi chong fan nasi lemak as you. Well, if he can do that, I also can do that.
Yes,
So you need role models who are doing it, So thankfully now Aerodyne is there and the bar is high. Now in the money services business, now Rama is there. He's with majority stake of a company in Singapore. He's bought over a foreign competitor in Malaysia. So maybe some young fellow will think, hey, I think there are pain points in the remittance space I can solve, and I want to be as big as merchant trade, bigger. So you really need role models that you can relate to, Karen. Not think of the guy Sergey Brin from Google, Elon Musk and all that. They all are at a different level because when they grew up, they were aspiring different level, So we didn't have role model. You need local role models, and then now people look at Ganesh Banga also. Right, he has already listed a company on the Nasdaq, right, and that didn't. So you can say that failed for him, but he has bounced back, right? Like Rama said, you don't give up. He has bounced back, and now he's the chairman of a listed company in Australia, and I think that will do very well. So he will inspire others. Say, hey, I can be an e-commerce leader. And remember, Ganesh also said technology is not the barrier. Anyone can own the same technology that's available out there.
So just to wrap this up, and you're spot on, Karam. I think we need people like you, Rama, and others, Kamarul and others, to inspire the next generation to set new world trailblazing standards, quick congrats from on the e-wallet announcement. I guess was there an e-wallet announcement today?
Today.
We have done a
alliance, right? Is it? Oh no, Kenaga.
Kenanga. We have done a collaboration with Kenanga today.
Okay, so well done on that. Just to wrap up, because it's about time I sent Karam to bed. Friday nights Karam has to have an early night because he works so hard the rest of the week. So.
I got to work on the story. I also, before we finish, yesterday Tony Fernandes gave a press conference, and he's repositioning Air Asia now. Very interesting. Let me get the story right, and we can next week.
And it's interesting, right, to become a bank, right? Part of it.
Yeah, no, he wants to be digital. He wants to be the leading digital bank in Southeast Asia.
Yes. Rama is a competitor, We'll bring Tony and Rama and give them both boxing gloves, and you'll see. he can definitely go into the remittance space, with all his ticket stubs.
No, he's already in the remittance space because they got big pay, right? Rama will know one. They're already in the remittance space, so Rama is already competing with Air Asia also.
It's gonna be a big Indian fist fight, slug fight. To wrap it up, I'm gonna close the show because I need to send Karam home. To bed. Shaji says, well said, Karam. So that's we'll leave it at that. Rama, your final thoughts for today. Any pieces of advice that you want to leave us with as we wrap up the show?
So I think it's more to the youngsters or those are startup guys, and I think or those are entrepreneurs moving up. I always say to be mentor for anyone, right? Before be mentor, try to continue learning yourself and teach people. Be a mentor to other people is the best way to move. Keep your strength and give your ideas. Guide all the guys out there, and make friends with everyone. Life is all about friendship. We don't know where we can get together. We just have to move on, right? Learning and keep going is the way to go, right? So.
Well, very, very well said. As Karam, Kumar says, merchant trade's always the best. With the sunglasses, don't forget those two little So, Karam, I'm giving you 32 seconds to wrap up your final thoughts of the day.
So I think I want so interesting that Rama said you should learn from others and try to get mentors. So I want to say that, look, Rama, if after the show anybody reaches out to me or Roshan and they want to connect with you, they want to bounce
please.
ideas,
Yeah.
no matter
Yeah.
how silly the ideas are, you can scold them, never mind, but give them
No
time
worries.
to listen to you. Okay, very important. Can or not?
Sure, I can assure you.
Rama,
I will spend at
send you
least half an
500
hour.
people.
No worries.
Wow,
He's
well
going to
done.
people in the next 3 minutes. Okay, watch out. He already got a list of. Anyway, that's Tech Talk Friday for you
Right.
today. It's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for your support.
Yeah.
Lots of great questions. Lots of congratulation messages coming in from everywhere. Today we went live on Facebook too. So with the Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, users from all over checking out our show. Thank you so much for continuing to support our show. Have a fantastic weekend. We will see you next week, Friday, same time, same place. Tech Talk Friday, 7 p.m. Have
And
a good day.
I won't congratulate Ramayat until they hit $2.5 billion revenue.
Right, there
I
you
know
go.
it's possible.
And Siva wants you back on the next show, man. Not enough time for him,
Correct.
and
All right.
sorry,
Yeah.
Siva. Okay, we gotta wrap up. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you.
Cutting out for now. Take care. All the
Bye-bye.
best.
Bye.
And
Bye-bye.
stay well, everyone. Stay well. Tech Talk Friday.